In this video, you'll learn how to identify parts of a Navigator and access widgets from the Related Items pane. Your organization is using Navigators to provide a focused and intuitive experience to easily access your time, attendance, and scheduling information. Let's take a guided tour to learn more about the widgets in your Navigator. When you first log on, your home workspace includes widgets for your most common tasks. Widgets are task-oriented tools or views into Workforce Central. Note that your Navigator might look different from these examples. This employee, Julie Adams, enters time using a timestamp widget to enter in and out punches, so she has a tool to help her do that. But if you enter time differently, then you'll have a different set of tools at your disposal. So don't worry too much about those details. The purpose of this video is just to help you learn your way around the interface in general. The most important element of your Navigator is called a widget. You'll probably have several of these. Each widget provides you with the tools and information to perform a particular kind of task. For example, Julie is currently viewing the My Time Card widget, which presents information about the time she's worked, as well as the My Timestamp widget, which lets her quickly enter an in or out punch. Over on the right, you'll see that Julie has a Related Items pane. This contains an additional set of widgets that Julie finds useful from time to time. So really, Julie's Navigator contains 8 widgets. 2 of these are currently active and out in the workspace, and 6 of them are still tucked away in the Related Items pane in case she needs them at some point. This Related Items pane can be temporarily closed if you don't really need it, and that's accomplished by clicking the right arrow. Now, if you look at Julie's workspace, you can see that her 2 active widgets are not the same size. My Time Card has much more room to work with than My Timestamp. That's because workspaces are organized into what are called views. And right now, this workspace has a primary view and a secondary view. Primary views get much more space because that's where you'll do the majority of your work. Any view can hold any widget, so just because right now Julie's primary view holds the My Time Card widget, that doesn't mean she has to keep it that way. At any time, Julie can drag a new widget into that primary view. So see what just happened there. I dragged the My Timestamp widget from its secondary view into the primary view and released it. And what happened is the 2 widgets swapped places. So now My Timestamp is in the primary view and My Time Card is in a secondary view. I can do the same thing with widgets in the Related Items pane, which I'm going to reopen now by clicking the left arrow. So if I want, say, for example, the My Calendar widget to be in the primary view, I can just drag it out of the Related Items pane and let it go in the primary view. So what just happened there? My Calendar is now in the primary view because I dragged it there, and My Timestamp, which used to be here, got pushed down into a secondary view. So here's My Timestamp again. So now my workspace has 1 primary view and 2 secondary views. Now this workspace is starting to get a little cluttered, so I can close any one of these secondary widgets if I wish by opening its gear icon and clicking Close. And that will return it to the Related Items pane. You can tell that My Time Card is back in the Related Items pane because it's now in bold. The 2 widgets that are active and out in the workspace appear grayed out. Now, suppose I'd like to see more of the My Calendar widget. I do have a scroll bar down here which I can use to scroll around to see different parts of the widget if necessary. But I can also make a widget in a primary view much bigger by clicking its maximize icon. And now it takes up much more space. In fact, it's taken up all the available space, and the other parts of my Navigator have temporarily disappeared to make room for it. So this is very helpful if you have a lot of work to do in a specific widget and you want to maximize it, and then you can perform all of your tasks. And when you're done, you can simply restore it back down to its original size by clicking Restore Down. Now, most of the time, if you want to perform actions in a widget, it needs to be in a primary view. So if it's not currently in a primary view, you need to put it there before performing any actions. But some widgets actually have a few minor functions available even when they're in a secondary view, such as this My Timestamp widget. The My Timestamp widget still has an active transfer drop-down list and a record timestamp button even though it's in a secondary position. But in general, most widgets have no real actions you can take in a secondary position. You can just view information while they're in a secondary view. So just a couple more things you might find helpful to know about the Navigator interface. First of all, you've seen how we can move a widget out of the Related Items pane by dragging it into a view, but you can also open it in its own temporary workspace simply by clicking on it while it's in the Related Items pane. So let's suppose I want to work in the My Time Card widget. I could drag it out to the primary view, but I could also just click it. And when I click it, it opens in its own workspace, and it acts like a large primary view. I can even tab back and forth between these two workspaces if I need to. And when I'm done with this widget, I can just click its Close button in its tab, and it will return back to the Related Items pane. Another thing you might find useful if your workspace ever gets cluttered, or if you just want to get back to your default layout, is you can click a workspace's refresh icon, and everything will go back to the way it started. Now when you're finished working in the Navigator, be sure to click Sign Out before you close your browser. Closing your browser without first signing out does leave your session open for a time, and that can be a security risk. Let's review what we learned. Your Navigator is configured to support your job responsibilities and provide you with tools and views into key business data such as time, attendance, schedules, self-service components, support tools, and so on. Your Navigator is made up of a set of widgets chosen specifically for you to help you perform the kinds of tasks you'll be expected to perform in the Kronos system. At any time, some of these widgets will be active out in the workspace where they can be reviewed and acted on, and the others will be in the Related Items pane where they can be moved out to the workspace as needed or opened in temporary workspaces of their own. If you need more space to work with a widget, you can maximize it, and when you're all done, restore it back down to its original size. And finally, when you're all done working in the Navigator, you should always remember to sign out before closing the browser. And that's all for this video. Thanks for watching.